Half Whit has yet another sponsor, the Weekly 50. If you haven't heard of it, the Weekly 50 is just that, a weekly 50-question quiz that is released each Friday so that you can attempt it while you're having the weekend morning coffee, with some friends at home on a Saturday night, or even like I do in my old age, once I've got into bed. The Weekly 50 also holds quiz nights throughout the week at locations all across Adelaide, such as Yellow Matter, Pirate Life, Kickback, Shotgun Willie's, Nearly A Bar, and the West Oak. Check out the Weekly 50 quiz by either typing it into Google or going to the website, theweekly50.com.au, 50 as in FIFTY, not the number, or look them up on Instagram at theweekly50. Hello, listeners. I'm nervous. I'm also very excited, but I'm nervous. If I was a test cricketer for Australia, I'd be Nerve Hughes. If I was a band, I'd be the Nerve. That has got nothing to do with the fact that I'll soon be interviewing 1988 Magarey medalist and 250-game SANFL champion Greg Whittlesea on the Matt Whitford podcast. Obviously, I'm very excited to be interviewing Greg, and even before actually speaking with him, I know that you're going to love Greg's story about growing up on the Fleurieu Peninsula and then, beginning his 20-plus year career playing SANFL, AFL, and country football. Greg is one of the most down-to-earth, genuine, and humble blokes going around, and I have no doubt you are going to enjoy my chat with him. But I'm nervous about what is going to take place at Adelaide Oval later tonight. It's been nearly 8 years since the Crows played finals, and yes, I know the grand final against Richmond was a disaster, but we are back in the finals after those long 8 years. We are taking on Collingwood at Adelaide Oval. I reckon there'll be nearly 60,000 people there. There you go. That's an early scoop. But I am recording this, and I will be recording the interview with Greg prior to the game tonight. So if we timestamp this, it's 4 p.m. on Thursday, September the 4th. But the plan is, win or lose, to record a segment later tonight once I've jumped on the Seaford line, walked to the 1.5 Ks from Hove Station back to the new Half Whit recording studio in Brighton. So we've just got a little bit too big for our Edwardstown studio, so we have moved to Brighton. Look, who knows? I might even see one of Half Whit's favourites, Benny Miller, tonight and convince him to take a slight detour on the way home to Seaview Downs, and he can jump on the pod for his third appearance. But regardless, it's got to be one of the biggest games ever to take place at Adelaide Oval over the last 50 years. The Crows have lost all 3 finals against Collingwood, the Jack Anthony one being the most recent, so fingers crossed that can all change tonight. But without further ado, enjoy episode 5 with Greg Whittlesea. Greg Whittlesea, welcome to Half Whit.
G'day, Matty. How you going?
Excellent, mate. Now, before we begin, Greg, I do bump into you regularly at the Yankalilla pub, so I actually don't know why we're not right there recording this at the moment, but I did see you early in the year there, and I was staying in Normanville on a golf trip with a few lads, and I introduced you to my mates, and one of them, Greg, said, your hands are the most coarse hands they've ever made contact with, and your handshake is the most firm handshake in the history of handshakes. So I just need to get that out of the way before we begin.
That's all right. That's farming hands for you, and a bit of arthritis and a few broken joints. So yeah,
I wouldn't know.
That's how I greet everyone.
I wouldn't know what farming hands are. I've got nice whiteboard hands, school teachers. So Greg, you were born on the 23rd of July, 1963, making you 62 years young. Can you tell me about your childhood?
Yeah, I was born and raised on a dairy farm just south Second Valley. Dad, Lou, played a bit of footy, Yankalilla, and cricket and bowls, and Mum was a very good netballer. So, so they were very much into community sport out there. So I got an older brother, Brenton. He's a year older, and myself, and there's Neville, who's 2 years younger, and then Joanne's bit of a gap there from about 8 years. So don't know if that was a little mistake with Dad or about us. No, she's a great sister, so she keeps us level-headed. So we brought up on a pretty humble kind of family background. Dad used to milk cows, and he left school, pretty young, and then worked for other people. Then, got his hand in the dairy and a bit of shearing, and lived off the land and got us through school. So, pretty humble, but very much focused on sport and community involvements. All my parents and everyone was down there. That's what you did. So that was good.
So, assuming you went to Yankalilla area school then?
Yes, well, there was a Rapid Bay, but that was just junior and Delamere, only very small. But did all my schooling at Yankalilla area school. School bus went out, picked us up on we're right next to the main road, so it was convenient for that. So went there for 11 years, till year 11. So and some great mates, great memories. Don't know about schooling education side of that, but yes.
It's absolute God's country down there, Greg. And the plan is to retire down there and finish my teaching at Yankalilla area school, but I've got a few years until that happens.
Oh, it's a good area, expanding too, like in Fluria.
Yep. So obviously you played your junior footy then at the Yankalilla Tigers, I believe.
Yeah, yep. That's right.
The Flurio pretty much was all zoned to the Sturt Footy Club.
Yeah, it was, and I played a bit of interleague, school footy, but played my junior colts, senior colts, and played one B grade before I went to town. But always played representative games with footy, cricket, athletics. Always loved that kind of stuff. It's always good to get you out of schoolwork, like for a day off here and there. So I was always, enjoyed that side of stuff. So, Dad, he coached or assistant coached in the juniors, and back in the day, just a lot of travelling and pack everyone up and you go from town to town. So netball and, very much community, which, you know what it's all about.
I do. So you're 16, 17, you're in year 11, you start playing some under 17 footy at Sturt. You win the best and fairest in 1980. Were you still commuting from Second Valley to Unley and back multiple times a week, or?
Yeah, the year before I played a couple of games because Alan Fenn, recruiting officer, actually very strange. He kind of almost followed me into the change room after association game. Back in the day, I think it was a Balhana. I still remember the Oval in the associations against, I think it was River Murray.
Yep.
The Hills, Lovelock Shield kind of competition back then. And he just said, "Oh, would you like to come and play footy at Sturt?" And, I was just there to play footy. And I said, "Oh, I need to probably talk to Mum and Dad about that." So, and then it kind of started a conversation, and just went up for a couple of filling games, which a lot of the country guys used to do with the college system. So, but the following year, I actually came up and boarded in Hawthorn, and actually went to Bray for 2 years, and that really helped me with the schooling and cut down on the travelling. I still went home when I could, but for a couple of years there, I did, and I played under 17s, and that was a pretty good, very very good year, and and still a lot of those guys played. Botts, Ian Wilmot, a few guys, Peter Heinrich. They all played kind of footy at Sturt, so
And Hawthorn just a little bit closer than the Second Valley.
No,
1980, you played Till Cup. So for a lot of our younger listeners, and I guess myself included, what exactly was the Till Cup?
Yeah, it was almost like a mini state game. I suppose you got your pathways now. This was more of a junior under 17 state game. I don't think South Australia won it. Victoria dominated for years in that kind of concept, but I remember going out to the trial game. There would have been 50, out for the training. I think all the clubs nominated so many players, and I was lucky enough to get in the squad and went West Australia, and that was Alan Stewart and Dean Schultz, Murray Tippett. They were all developing in that junior grade, and first time I kind of wore blazers and that. Like, it was a big deal going representing your state in that competition, and it was a great experience over there, winning it, and coming back, with that award, with that shield was a great achievement for the league, and I think that was the catalyst going forward into the 80s.
Yeah, the Teal Cup team in 1980 was absolutely stacked. You had future SANFL Premiership players, and also a couple of guys that coached SANFL, Darryl Hart and Chris McDermott, Peter Krieg, Craig Burton. I mentioned a lot of North Adelaide players there, but you also had some future VFL and AFL Premiership players in Stephen Kernahan, Craig Bradley, and John Platten. So not a bad.
It was just a coup. I don't know if it was just what the league was thinking about. Like, there was a catalyst of that. Like, I think Greg Hodgson was the captain, played for West Torrens. I think he was captain because he was huge. He was a number one ruckman, and I think out of the 21 I actually played outside within 2 years, I'd either played league footy or or the club footy at a high level within the next 2 years. So it's just a group of guys that all come together, had success, and we played a lot of state games with each other on the way through too in senior ranks. So special group.
Well, you make your Sturt League debut in 1981 in round 6 against the mighty Roosters at Prospect, and you win by 4 points and kick the winning goal. Not a bad debut.
Yes.
But you played 9 league games in 81, and you even managed to still win the reserves Magarey medal, which is crazy to think.
Yeah.
Jack Odie was your coach, and he'd been coaching since the early 60s, I think 62, and won, he won 7 flags, and I think a lot of people have heard of Sturt 5 in a row from 66 to 70. But the next season, Greg, in 1982, that was your breakout year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But even getting back to my first league game, like back then, all the kerfuffle had photos on the Friday, and a lot of people don't even know this, but I rocked up the reserves game thinking I was going to play reserves. I didn't know where I was playing. Like Jack Odie didn't ring me on the Friday, he didn't talk to me after the game. And I thought, that's a bit strange. I knew Kimmy Clomp was injured, training, and I was going to take his spot, I thought. And I thought, well, that popped in the back pocket. And I'll get, I probably didn't have time for nerves or I'm naive or whatever, but I rocked up with Bob Ellis, my host family, and we walked in, and everyone's gone up to congratulate me, and I walked in because I watched the reserve game before I actually played league.
Yep.
And then Jack Odie walked in to get changed, and Jack just said, just go up and play in half forward flank and see how you go. And that was he didn't say, I want you to do this, want you to do this. He just do what you've been doing.
Pretty simple.
And it was no pressure, and lucky enough to kick 3 goals. And it was a bit of a wobbler, but I got the one over the line to win the game. But and then a couple of games later, I went back to reserves. And, it was in and out a little bit, but it was my first initiation. And then 82, another pre-season, and just took my chance and played a lot of good foot in the back. I went back to the back lines, and
So 82, you play you make the state team. You play your first of many state games. Make the advertiser team of the year, and you have a pretty good season, finishing 4th. Largely thanks to Rick Davies' 98 goals and the emergence of Peter Motley, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Jack Odie calls time on his 21-year coaching career. What were your recollections of Jack?
Oh, well, he was a master at his time. Probably right at the end of it. I was probably very lucky to get that opportunity. He's very structured, and and not the fear factor, but his philosophy was pretty skill and use of footy, and if you did that properly, and try and win your position, 9 times out of 10 you win a game. And he said, he had faith he had his rules, he had his guidelines, and had a few. If you just gave your best, that's all he wanted. He'd pick you on skills. He already knew you probably had the skills, but it was very much, okay, just moulding you into the team, playing in the positions here and there. So, yeah.
And to have the best player in the SANFL Grand Final, medal named after you, very similar to obviously the Norm Smith medal in the AFL, just speaks volumes to.
Yeah.
I guess not what he just did for Sturt, but also
footy, footy in general, yeah.
So John Halbert takes over for the 1983 season.
Yeah.
Also the club patron of the Adelaide Lutheran Footy Club. Mm-hmm. You finish second after the minor round. This time Rick Davies kicks 151 for the season. It's not a bad effort. You just lose the qualifying final Norwood. You beat the Roosters the next week, and then you get revenge on Norwood in the prelim, and you win by 7 goals, I think. So you're in your third season of sample footy, and you're into a grand final to take on the minor premiers Westies. Were you confident heading in?
It was hard. We limped in. We got a few injuries. Could we have played that extra game? I think Neil Craig, Chris Rathbone, we had injuries along the way, and I can remember it was still a hot game.
I watched the highlights on YouTube last night.
Yeah. Westies, we might have got on, earlier in the year when Curls left young Winter on Jumbo when he kicked 15.
Yeah.
But that was just probably very smart plan. And they were a good side, Mirets, like Tony Burgess, these guys, we probably just needed a little bit of luck. We had got injuries to a couple of key guys, and we probably went in a bit banged up, which, it was always hard. It was a great. Michael Graham, I know the day, but he still kicked 6 or whatever.
It was incredible.
But we just couldn't get under 15 points. I reckon they were always 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah, you were a goal up at quarter time, and then they kicked 10 goals in the second quarter, which is unreal footy. And you could never just quite peg them back. I think Bruce Linder kicked 5 and then went to Geelong pretty soon after. But obviously it would have been disappointing to lose any game, let alone a grand final. But it must have been pleasing to at least, have from an individual standpoint, have another good season of league footy.
Oh, yeah. It was just probably learning. Still very young, still learning the game, probably lucky. The state footy probably did help me in playing that next level up.
Yep.
And I think it's always every game at a high level is always going to get you in good stead. So, it was always going to be probably hard, I played in the centre for a start there, but I was pretty sore myself too. And I had to have a bit of an operation off season just to sort things out. So I was a toll on my body because I was still probably growing myself too. At 18, 19-year-olds. So.
And you're still playing obviously that extra game of state footy. It was must have been nice to smash Victoria, kick a big by 11 goals at Footy Park.
Yeah, no, that's That was just a great game, a great side, and we just all gelled. We had a lot of young guys come through. I played Tour Cup with, plus experienced guys who'd played a lot of high level footy, and there was Russell, as I said, there was Neil Craig, but we had Brucey Leonard, we had a lot of those guys.
Yep.
And then we had Motts and Kerners and Rattles and Johnny Plant before they actually made the move over. So it was a nucleus of it was good times.
I love looking at those state photos. So 1984, you missed the finals, and John Halbert's controversially replaced by Mervyn Kane, who played 240 games for Richmond. Multiple premiership player, both the team of the century and the Richmond Hall of Fame. That 1985 season, he was the player coach. So what was that like, for you running around, having your coach on the ground as your teammate?
Yeah, it was different because I'd never really experienced something like that before. I know country footy is a lot like that, but he had good, like John McInnes, I think, was on the bench, and they had a lot of good people. Colin Casey, they were on the bench kind of guiding, and I think Jeff Motley might have been coming back on.
Yep.
Starting to come into the field too.
Okay.
which is he probably needed that on especially while you're playing coach, and he's still. I think Tony McGuinness kind of ran him off his game a couple of times there, but this young gun, but he kept, but he did a good job. But he probably knew that. I think he got knocked out at North Adelaide, I reckon, and while he was playing, and that was, and we ended up getting over the line in the end after that. But he can't, he still can't remember that game. But that was. Yeah,
well, it's actually
a moment.
Well, it's actually where I met you, Greg, at the Pekin District Footy Club when, I was a player coach into the A grade, and if I'd have known you were there watching on, mate, I should have got you to stand on the bench. I did have a fantastic support crew there as well, but it is player coaching. It's all about having that set up on the sidelines. So, you return to the finals in 1985, but you lose the elimination final to West. Peter Motley wins another best and fairest before he goes to Carlton. He was one of the best you've ever seen.
Yeah, just naturally gifted, very ultimate professional. I know he's still very good mates with Craig Braddles, and, cricket, sport, they were just ultimate, extra training, skill sessions and stuff like that. And, I can still remember the morning because I was actually boarding. I'd finished her break and I was actually boarding a couple of days a week at Matt Benson's place at Netherby. And when I was up, I used to travel. Back then I was travelling back and forth from the farm, working at Chunga, and I still remember Mott's come over the radio like at 7 o'clock in the morning. I've gone, wow, because I think he was still in hospital. I didn't think he was going to make it.
Yep.
And we're just going, oh, wow. And then the next few days we got wind of all the crash and all that kind of stuff. So, but he was just, I can remember at the end of 83 grand final, he was on a Form 4 with Sydney Swans at RX7 driving around. I don't know if he had to hand that back or whatever, but, we were good mates, He's one of those guys, he's a wingman. We used to go and have a few drinks. He'd have drink coach, but acted like he, but he'd get us home safe. Just like he was just, and unfortunately it's one of those if buts, what
could have happened,
what he could have been if but we've got no control of that, unfortunately, Matty. So it was tragic. It was tragic,
But it was great, obviously Carlton, they went on and won the
did it for him, and they would have did it for him just as much as themselves. So they probably had an inner belief.
So 1986 comes around, and by then Merv Kane's just gone back to just coaching and not trying to do both. But you have a lot of players retire, a lot of young players at the club, and you miss the finals. But soon after the 86 season concludes, Greg, there is a VFL draft. And to our younger listeners, there's still no Adelaide Crows at this stage, and the SANFL, it was still pretty much on par with the VFL. It wasn't better than the other. There hadn't been a VFL draft since 1982, and with the Brisbane Bears, who are now the Brisbane Lions, and the West Coast Eagles about to enter the VFL, there was quite a lot of interest in how the draft would play out. Now, a lot of South Aussies got picked up in this draft. Stephen Sims, Grantley Filkey, Andrew Pays, Dominic Fotia, Kieran Spawn, Craig Kelly, Stephen Williams, and Stephen Riley. A lot of Tassie players got picked up. Stephen and Matthew Phoebe played a lot of footy for Melbourne. 3-time premiership player now, Fox footy star Alastair Lynch. And my favourite footy name, I used to have his footy card when I was young, Simon Minton Connell as well. But then at pick 56, Richmond called out your name.
Yeah.
Did you nominate for the draft, or how did that all work?
No, I actually got a phone call from the footy development officer, and it was just out of the blue, really, and he said, do you mind just coming over to meet a few of the players after the season? And I said, they flew me over, and I met up with there's General Lee Waitman and the Bauer boys, because I think I thought, a couple of the country Mildura boys that might, just make me feel a bit more at home, because it's a big move, even coming from from a country town,
Yep.
even to Adelaide, but Urbray,
Yep.
only, but then going from there to Melbourne, bigger city again, I'm going, wow. I had a chat at the time. During that week I went over there, they actually sacked Tony Jewell and replaced him with Kevin Bartlett.
Okay.
And I spoke briefly to Tony Jewell as he was walking out the Oval. And then I went and saw Kevin Bartlett the next day at his place, had a barbecue and a bit of a chat. And
Yep.
that's what his philosophy, was with that. So, and that was good.
Yep.
And I came back and I said I'd give him a little bit of a bit of time to, they wanted me to kind of try and get over before Christmas. And
Yep.
but I was going away. I had a trip organised through the Sturt Footy Club, and
Yep.
I was the tour leader, so I thought I'd better go with that. So that was already organised. So, so I said, when I get back, I'll make my decision. So, and in the meantime, the SNFL put this retention scheme, superannuation kind of set up. They were going to put that in place. So I had a couple of options. If I wanted to stay here and play for Sturt, or
make the move.
Or make the move. So so I went away and big decision. I just went away with a couple of close friends, and one day when I was just away from everyone and just sat down and nuts and bolts and
weighed up the pros and cons.
Decided to stay here, which in hindsight, Richmond took a long time before they became a good club.
Yep.
In hindsight, and if I did go over then, I might have established myself. I don't know.
It's
hard. You don't know. That's but I've got no regrets.
Yep. Isn't hindsight the superpower that everyone wished they had?
Yeah.
It's interesting that Darren Jarman actually had his name called out the pick before you, and he stayed in the SANFL and he won a flag at North. But we'll talk about Darren Jarman a little bit later as well. Yeah. You made captain for the 1987 season, and you win the best and fairest. Yeah. And I'm sure it would have been disappointing for the team to finish, second bottom. But it must have been nice to, I guess, vindicate your decision to stay at Sturt by, winning the BNF in your first year as captain.
Yeah, it was. I was very young. I was still only 20. I think I was only 24, 25. Merv Kane had a bit of faith in me, but he was rebuilding. I can see that. And there was patches. I know we didn't win a lot of games, but we were competitive for a half or three quarters. But we just didn't have the belief, or just didn't have the experience to get over the line. So, it was a great honour, but that was only just starting to, the responsibilities.
Yep.
And I was travelling a lot. Like I was back on the farm a lot more. Used to come into with Michael Brand and Andrew Maxwell, Dave McKenna used to meet at Mount Compass.
Yep.
We'd all come from Victor Harbour, Parra and Carpool.
Yep.
And that broke, but it was, 3 o'clock, 10 o'clock on a twice a week, commitment to do. And
racking up the kilometres.
Yeah.
No cruise control back then.
And we were dairy farmers too back then, so we all had to relied on help.
Yeah.
Family support to do that. So yeah.
I just can't imagine what it would have been like just back and forth.
Yeah.
So in 1988, you and the boys, you suffer a few early season beltings, but you actually recovered to finish fifth and unfortunately lost to Glenelg in elimination final.
Yeah.
Greg, you win the Magarey medal by 10 votes. Must have been a very, very special. Before you talk about it, you got 28 votes. Yeah. And it's only been the last couple of years where some blokes have polled sort of early to mid-30s, but 28 votes was a lot of votes back then. Yeah. Must have been an incredibly special moment for you.
Yeah, 88 was just one of those years. I got fit, maybe mature. Played in the All-Australian Carnival, that Boston General Carnival at the start of the year.
Yep.
I think it got me fit, and it probably got me a bit more confidence. Played off half-back, had a bit of a run on the ball, even in that.
And you were All-Australian from that as well.
Yeah, yep. At the end of that. So, and that probably just confidence.
Yep.
And we had a couple. We hit a couple of hurdles early. Then all of a sudden it was a game. I don't know, it might have been against North or the Eagles. That we were 3 goals down or something time on period, and we got over the line. And after that, it was just a belief that we can do it. And then we went on a bit of a roll where we bet nearly every side. The Port Adelaide's, the Glenelgs and Norwoods, and Adelaide Oval, and we were playing really good footy. We had, the Scotty Russells. But we had kids. We had a core group of guys that were just starting to get their 20 or 30 games together. And they just started to, Lawrence Shackey, we got Paul McWilliams. They came from, North Melbourne, and I think Shack's, was out of the Queensland Academy. But and we got a few Mildura boys, and we just got a bit of bonding, and we just was on a roll. And unfortunately, we just fell over. Probably we got Port by a point, and then we kind of just slipped into and we might kick 1-7 in elimination final.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that was on a Sunday, so on Monday was Mad Monday, so we went to the
best day of the year.
We went to just a little restaurant with a few girls looking after us, and then a few guys said, we got to go to the medal count. Scotty Russell was probably one was going to poll.
Yep.
Because he won a Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
And we thought, we'll probably poll the best for us. And
so
I had no inclination. No, I just went along for the feed and a few beers, extra beers, and halfway through the count, they've gone, a few guys just said, you got to have a few coffees now or water to calm the nerves. So, probably lucky that, I don't know how it works, voting. Chris McDermott, great player there, but he didn't poll for the first 8 games, and then he won all their media awards, and, hot favourite, and there was an uproar about, why couldn't he stay captain, respected guy. And I said, well, you don't know.
Exactly.
But then it was Gilbert McAdam. He won it the year after me, he was just that up-and-coming guy. But, it was a great night back in the club, for the next week or so. It was, it was a good individual party, but a lot of people went along for the ride because everyone was involved with it.
You also got to make sure you shake the umpire's hand after the game and make sure and just show them your number as well. But it'd been 27 years since Sturt had a winner, which was John Howard, and it was obviously. By the way, I'm actually chatting with Greg, and he's wearing his Sturt Double Blues cap right now. But it was great to see Tom Lewis win it on Monday night, during such illustrious company. I also watched the count on YouTube. It's actually really good. The whole count is on YouTube.
Oh, all right.
So watching you 37 years ago. So now it was about this time with Sturt as well that you've stopped playing your games at Unley Oval. So Unley Oval, one of the best ovals to watch SANFL footy at. Also a lot of AFLW there for the Crows. Yeah. What happened then? Because they made you play your games at Adelaide Oval. Talk us through what happened.
Yeah, there was reading between the lines, I think the league, SANFL at the time, they were trying to just do double headers just to try and get bigger crowds and and have double headers. They trialled it a bit through the 88 season.
Yep.
And it did work all right, but the reserves had to play at different time slots. And I think they were looking at that side of stuff. But what had happened though, we thought we'd get on the front foot because South Adelaide were co-tenants as well. I think we'll try and get the best change rooms facilities at Adelaide Oval. And the board and the club kind of moved in there. And then when a few things didn't quite work out, they went to try and go back to Unley. And the council said no.
Yeah, it's now a dog walk. It's now a dog park. Yep.
Yeah. And then it said, no, this is for the residents now. And we weren't even, we lost our home ground advantage and we didn't really, we had a base, but not a training facility. So we did a lot of training in gyms and Victoria Park, race course, off that zone, which in hindsight, it's politics involved with that there, and it took a long time. It took probably 8 years to kind of get them back. But now what they've done now is, go through 20 years. It's a great spot out there now with what they've done, but it's just taken a while to turn around. But there was a bit of heartbreak at the time.
Yeah, you don't want to annoy the residents of Unley, take over their beautiful park. So following the 1989 season, the board decides not to reappoint Merv Kane. Rick Davies, your former, I believe it was the 1988 season.
Yeah.
Rick Davies, your former teammate, takes over as coach. Yeah. You can probably only describe 89 as a disaster because you win 4 games and lose 18. You finish last in a 10-team SANFL. First wooden spoon in nearly 30 years. So Rick Davies resigns at the end of the season, and just as the VFL changed its name to the AFL, the 1990 AFL preseason draft comes around, and Hawthorn take you at pick 20. Again, you don't make the move to Melbourne, and you stay at the Double Blues. Why?
Yeah. It was just a timing. It was really much a timing thing. Unfortunately, after 88, the high, individual high, and then Merv, and then unfortunately Rick lasted 1 year. Kevin Higgins lasted 1 year.
Yep.
And then Stephen Trigg took over. So, and at the end of, I reckon, mid-90, that's when Hawthorn came on board.
Yep.
But I didn't go over because whispers were the AFL licence was in the mix.
Yep.
With the licence. The Port Adelaide was starting to, and Nord was starting to have interest with the VFL.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, SANFL said, this can't happen. We've got to go in to get this license. And it was very much a time.
So were Port and, we'll go back a little bit, were Port and Norwood going in as a merger, or they were going in separately?
They were going in as their own bid. They were putting their own bids in. So, they wanted to go in, which was big moves at the time. But, I can remember Bruce Webber and all that. I think they started pushing the barrel. Yeah, I think that's, in hindsight, I think that got the league said, no, we can't let this happen.
Yep.
And maybe Bruce was the scapegoat.
Yep.
Or the Norwood guys or whatever.
Yeah.
Because looking back at it, if we had the license back in the mid-80s and the guys that didn't go were formed there, how, it would have been a bit of an unknown. So, but I just needed, when Hawthorn did pick me up, I came out of the blue. I think they were just, because Hawthorn was on top. They were winning everything back then.
Yeah.
The draft wasn't for them. It was for the other team. It was for other teams to get.
Yeah, it was a pre-season draft at the start of 1990. So it was. You've stayed at the 1990 season. Under Kevin Higgins, another wooden spoon. You only won two games. So your 4 years as captain of Sturt, you haven't won a final.
Yeah,
you finished bottom the last 2. So you make the decision at the end of 1990 to leave for Hawthorn. What was that like? I guess packing up and moving over the border.
It was. If I had my time again, I would have done a few things different. Because even back then, we didn't really have player managers.
Yeah,
like Motts, Jeff was probably 1 or 2 that were advisors, but now it's a big business. But I think when the AFL granted the licence in November, I had to make a decision.
That was granted for the Crows?
Yep.
And so November 1990.
Yep. By the end of November, I had to make a decision whether I wanted to go to Hawthorn or be a novel part of the Crows.
Yep.
Hadn't won a senior premiership, and last 4 years was pretty tough going.
Yeah.
And I almost needed a sea change. And I thought, Hawthorn, like
Very successful
club, and at the same time, Darren Jarman and Matty Roprin, were approached at the same time.
Former Crows Premiership superstars.
Yeah. And I remember Johnny Platten having a chat to me. Bowden Jaworski,
former Rooster.
Former Rooster was involved with Hawthorn's selection side. And I sat down and I said, well, these are your options. Neil Curley, Bob, they were probably on, but they didn't even have Cornsey as coach. They didn't even have, it was just a timing thing, and it was just too rushed.
You had to make a decision.
You had to make a decision, and I said I need to go to a bit more stable. I'd have been in Melbourne, but no, I don't regret that time.
And I think we talk about hindsight, the superpower, but the Hawks were, and obviously I'll talk about it. They did go on to win the 1991 premiership, and with Dunstall, Brett, and Platten, Ayres, and Michael Tuck. There's just some unbelievable players. So it was crazy to think that 34 years ago, and to our listeners out there, the Crows, that round one game against Hawthorn, and the Crows absolutely smashed the Hawks. You didn't get picked for it.
No.
But you play 4 games for the Hawks in 1991, and you look at some people's fairy tale debuts. Yours was against West Coast at Princess Park, and you got belted by 80 points.
Yeah.
So a bit different to your SANFL debut for Sturt.
Yes, very much so. I think we kicked the first 2 goals, and one of the trainers said, "Oh, welcome to the big league here." And then after that, I was on. By the end of it, I was taking Trismane Waring and for a start, and they were a good side. So
Peter Matera running it as well.
They were a state side.
You don't play again till round 13. This time it's against the Brisbane Bears, again at Princess Park. You're smashing by 80 points. There was only 6,000 spectators, so a very small crowd given the timing. You get your first win as an AFL footballer. Did you know the word to the Hawk song?
I'd won a few reserve games before that, so we kind of knew.
You had some practice.
Yeah, so had a little bit of practice, but I can still remember the Brisbane game was very wet, and I thought, I'm a bit of a mudlark anyway. I don't mind, in and under kind of thing, and So the games, the games were good. I just said to you, I was just they were managing Tucky, so
Michael Tuck.
I got my opportunity, but. I really did enjoy the environment over there, and just the club. It is a family club, it's still very much a family club. Yeah. Glenferrie, their oval was nothing tearing. Has got bigger, more success they've got out at Waverley and now. A bit of a dynasty there now, but
because you did, as you said before, you sometimes they'd rest Michael Tuck, and you sort of go in and out of the team. You play the round 17 win against Sydney, and that's your last game in the seniors for the year. And Hawthorn, like I said, went on to win the 1991 premiership. You win the reserves best and fairest.
Yeah.
Very similar story to I think 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
How you've won a reserves best and fairest while still playing league footy is crazy.
Yeah.
You don't play a league game for Hawthorn in 1992. So were you injured in 92?
Yeah, I just I did a groin pre-season, in a practice, pretty heavy practice, and I can still remember doing it at training. It was just a bit of a heavy ground, and I just moved, and I did feel something. I thought just a groin strain because I've never really had any groin issues, and I thought. I just went in and they kind of assessed it, thinking, we'll just give it 2 or 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden it didn't get any better. I had cortisone and stuff like that. Then I had to go in and have surgery, and it was a bit of a hernia, which kind of restricted. But it put me behind the 8 ball, trying to get back into fitness. And once you do that, because being a strong club, there are 4 or 5 guys just waiting for opportunity. So you got to be on the... You got to have a bit of luck along the way, sliding door moments, and unfortunately, I struggled a bit in the second year just to get through. Alan Joyce was, it's great came the opportunity. Like you said, like you're not far away. Do you want to hang?
Yep.
I could have gone back to probably Adelaide after that first year.
Yep.
But I thought, no, I'm not far away.
So end of 1992, you're moving back to South Australia.
Yep.
Did you entertain? Was there a possibility of going back to the Crows for the 1993 season?
I had a brief discussion with them, but I've been a probably experienced older player.
Yep.
A few injury. He's coming off a bit of an injury thing, and they were going down the youth turn-up policy a bit there too. So, they gave me a phone call.
Yeah.
I flew up around there, but Dave Edwards, the runner at Sturt at the time, he came over because Hayden Button was coaching Sturt.
Yep.
And I had a bit of a chat with him, but he was going through a rebuild stage, and I've gone, here we go again, how many rebuilds, and I was counting, like senior premierships and where my opportunity's going to be.
Yep. So you're
getting limited. Yeah.
Yeah. So you come back to South Australia and you join Glenelg.
Yeah.
You play finals both years, but you only play 17 games across both seasons.
Yeah.
Was that a combination of being injured or?
Yeah, a bit of both. Injured, going back and forth to the farm.
Yep.
Wasn't very consistent. So, just found it hard probably adjusting coming back.
Yep.
So probably fitting into a great club. I've still got great friends down there too. So, but I've known them through like Laurie Rose won that through state footy and and Nick Chedwin and these guys. But had a quick chat with Neil Craig when he was coaching Norwood at the time, but he wanted me just to play for Norwood because he was coaching, and then then I end up going down to Glenelg and Choco Williams actually was appointed coach there. So that was a different.
Yeah.
Had a left field too. The kind of a magpie in the Tigers.
Yeah, no, you don't do that.
And it only lasted 12 months, but it was a stepping stone for Choco, and I still got little bits and pieces out of his coaching style.
Yeah, you finished with 251 SANFL games and 4 AFL games. You then, I just love this is the best stat of the pod that you go back and play 10 more years at Yankalilla.
Yeah. Retired about 3 times, but talked out of it.
It's very easy to talk.
Club umpiring's not good.
No, that's all.
That's very frustrating. I know. Yeah.
But you hang up the boots as a 41-year-old.
Yeah.
Another 168 games for Yankalilla. A good friend of mine and someone I'm pretty sure fellow Peak and District Premiership player Sam Braidwood. Yeah, he remembers starting his A-grade career as a teenager for playing centre forward or full forward for Mount Compass in the the late 90s, early 2000s. Only to have a former Magarey medalist in his late 30s, early 40s just standing next to him in a back pocket. So it must have been great finishing your career with your junior club Yankalilla.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I was always going to do that. So they gave me an opportunity to mould it with family, and I'm still involved in smaller capacity. Watch my Rocky, my youngest son's playing down there. So I still go back there, not as much because I have got a role with a patron at Unley now, so home games I go back up there, which is it's great when things are going, and I watch Daniel, my eldest son's umpiring in the SNFL, so I kind of sit in the stands and watch him get abused by the opposition supporters.
Greg, as long as there is a fridge full of ice cold red tins, mate, you will get there. So. I also love that you're still playing cricket for Yankalilla as well. So that's another time I usually pop in and, mid-December or, late January, I'm at the Yankalilla pub and there's you and your cricket whites. So,
it's only one day, 35 overs and a postage stamp. It's not a very big oval. Not too much running.
And just, and obviously
enjoy it.
Making sure you keep hydrated afterwards. So, Greg, what's life like for you now? You still on the farm?
Yeah, I've only got a small acreage now. I still live in the family homestead. We're born and bred and raised. Just doing that up at the moment, a bit of a reno job.
Yep.
Started a little bit of land off and just got a little bit of the old creek and mulberry tree and small acreage. Just got
Yep.
A few sheep, a few cattle. I'd just look after a few properties for other people down there, like a contract. So and that's keeping me busy. Like Lockie, my son does a bit of fencing, and I kind of help him out with that kind of stuff. There's plenty of work on in the furrow. So it's keeping me out of trouble. So
Well, condition if you coming on the pod, mate. If you need any help around, just let me know. But it is God's country. Like I spent a lot of time in Normanville and Yankalilla, Christmas time with my family as a youngster. But that second valley, I love playing golf. We're in a rapid bay, just right down to Cape Jervis. Like it is just Deep Creek. It is just a magical place in South Australia.
It's very picturesque. I probably take it for granted. I drive home with the sunset every morning and wake up and, see the waves rolling in, when you go to work. And, and we probably take it for granted that, I'm born and bred with it, I can remember jumping off the jetty as a school kid, used to, get off the bus and we were the only ones on there. But we survived. It's a good place to grow up and, grow your kids,
Oh, mate. Greg, Firstly, I just want to say a big thanks for driving all the way down from Second Valley to the Half Whit recording studio here, the new studio in Brighton.
It's looking good, mate.
It has worked out well because you do have an SANFL Past Players event tomorrow at Adelaide Oval. And speaking of Adelaide Oval, this podcast will go to air first thing tomorrow morning. But just quickly, mate, who wins tonight out of the Crows and Collingwood?
I think the Crows will, because I think there's a lot on it, and Tex, it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to come down, great night. No excuses. But it'll be interesting to see who takes their chances really, and hopefully the umpires just let them play footy and go like that. So, and then I'll be back up here Sunday to watch. Hopefully the Sturt boys can get over,
knock off the base
and kind of get into the grand final, which that's my probably big interest. I've always been probably more of a Hawks, but I used to follow Port. I still follow Port, the Crows. If it's a good game of footy, I think I sit on the fence with them a bit. So
Sturt and Glenelg on Sunday, the Greg Whittlesea Cup, mate. But for what it's worth, the Crows and Collingwood, I reckon it'll be a draw. And I'm actually
extra time, is it?
It will be extra time, and I reckon Collingwood will win in extra time. There you go, I've called it. But
be cool.
I'll when I get home tonight, I'm actually going to record a little segment as well with a bit of a post game recap. So we'll see how accurate I was. And this is timestamped at 5:41 p.m. on the 4th of September. Greg, thanks for coming on today. I actually bumped into you a few months ago at Prospect Oval. I was with my dad Bruce and my best mate Andy, and Barry Robert had just passed away I actually just bumped into you. And to all our listeners out there, like I know you pretty well, Greg, but you actually stood with my dad and my mate Andy for the whole second half, and Dad was pretty chuffed about it, standing with a former Magarey medalist. You're salt as earth as they come, and mate, I really appreciate you coming on Half Whit, and I look forward to many more years of bumping into the Yank pub, having a red tin off the wood.
Oh, any time, mate. As you say, Russell Ebert and Barry Robin, I was privileged enough to sit at the table at Carbine Clubs for many years, and I know they're both gone now, but are very cherished memories. And as you say, footies. You meet a lot of people in footy clubs and the footy environment, and those memories you'll never forget.
Yeah, and must be incredible that
good journey.
A fellow Magarey medalist along with Russell and Barry. So, Greg, really appreciate you coming on the podcast, mate, and all the best for the future.
Thanks, matey. Good work.
I know I did say it was going to go to extra time, and that did not happen. However, I was correct in my prediction that Collingwood would win. So to all you Collingwood supporters, congratulations. You were the better team by far tonight. So enjoy your week off. Enjoy your home prelim final at the MCG. But all our Crow supporters listening, it's all good. We have the double chance. We finish top 4, and you do that in case you make a mistake in the first week of the final. So we'll still play another home final next week against either GWS or Hawthorn. So fingers crossed we can get the win next week. Yeah, I'm just a bit flat. There was 52,000 people there tonight, but I don't think it felt like that. It was the crowd was very quiet. There were a lot of nerves with the Crow supporters, and if I'm perfectly honest, I thought the Collingwood supporters were louder than most of the Crow supporters. So, all good. We move on. The sun will come up tomorrow. I do want to say a massive thanks to Greg Whittlesea for coming on today's episode. It was great chatting with Greg. We could have spoken for another half an hour or 45 minutes, but I did have to get to the footy, so there might have to be a part B with Greg Whittlesea. Now, if you are ever in the Yankalilla pub and you hear someone with a husky voice, the odds are it is Greg. Go over and say hello to him, and that you listen to his episode on Half Whit. He will absolutely love it and likely buy you a pint of West End as well. Moving forward to next week's podcast, I'm really, really looking forward to our guest, a two-time Olympian, Ryan Mitchell, an Olympic swimmer and also a Commonwealth Games swimmer. Ryan's going to talk to me about, I guess, what it was like being a swimmer in the mid-90s and early 2000s. Obviously, I'll be chatting with him about the Atlanta and the Sydney Olympics. I'm also just fascinated to hear what it was like being a professional swimmer and all those early wake-ups and all those sacrifices that Ryan had to make throughout his career. So that will be next week's episode. Another big thank you to the Weekly 50 Quiz for jumping on board as this week's sponsor. Like I said earlier in the episode, if you have not done so, once you stop listening to this episode, type in the Weekly 50 and have a go at the quiz. And I promise you, you'll be instantly hooked, just like I was last year. Last little shout out to Jill Whitford for saving the day this afternoon. I was this evening. I was running late on the way to the Crows game tonight, and gave her a call, and she basically answered the call saying, "You need a lift to the footy tonight, don't you?" So thank you again, Mum, for saving the day. And I got to the hill at 7:09 p.m. with 1 minute to spare. So thanks again for everything. Massive happy Father's Day to all the dads out there on Sunday. I still need to go and get my father something, but that can be done on Saturday. So, and to all of you that forgot about Father's Day, you can thank me later for it. It's 12:15. I need some sleep. Thank you again to everyone who has been listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. And if you haven't done so already, please follow the Instagram page, the Matt Whitford Podcast, and hopefully I can hit 1,000 followers by the end of the year. I'm Matt Whitford. Thanks for listening.